What's good, everybody? Today I'm gonna be brewing with Wulfgar of Icewind Dale. This boy right here. He's a 5-mana 4/4 with melee. And his second ability is really the one that I'm keen to use, is if a creature you control attacking would cause a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. Okay, we're back. So, first things first, we are going to look for Well, actually, I guess since the idea behind the deck is clones, that's Wulfgar clone combat. I'm gonna start with my basic clone package in red and green, and yeah, a lot of people probably be wondering, clone package in red and green. Oh yeah, I got my Flame Rush Rider, and then we also have what's his name, the inspired guy. Well, actually, we can just do that. We have the technology. So on Scryfall, we've got. I want combat. When this creature attacks. No, token copies. See, it's already one of my favorite research options because we be like that sometimes. So all of these create token copies. Oh. Well, Delina the Wild Mage, hey there. I've seen you before, but I never read you. I always generally organize by CMC, just because I like to build a nice curve into my deck. Hopefully closer to the lower end, because that means I'll generally be able to cast more. But in some decks we can cheese it out higher. Because this is a clone deck, I was debating on whether or not I should use the Twin Flame Dual Caster Mage combo. Like, it's a very good combo, don't get me wrong, but is it in the spirit of beating face with extra combat triggers? Nah. Well, we'll see. We'll add it later. There it is. Fellhide Spirit Binder and Delina Wild Mage are going in. Oh, it's 1L. Fellhide Spirit Binder and Delina. I like her. I like her a lot. And so whenever she attacks, whenever Delina attacks, choose target creature you control and roll a d20. And I get to roll again on a 15 to 20. Oh, that's so savage. So I can make copies of my Flame Rush Rider, because the combat trigger I'm using is Combat Celebrant. Actually, does Combat Celebrant work with Wulfgar? We'll see. Huh. That's a good question, chat. Does that work? Because it says if, but if a creature you control attacking would cause a triggered ability of a permanent. So I guess it hasn't been exerted. We'll continue looking for clones first, but it's a good question to ask, I think. Helm of the Host, of course. Oh, I'm still a dummy in red-black because I was building another deck earlier because I can't help myself. Alright. Now that Bramble Sovereign Okra Jelly. I've never seen this card before. What does it do? Enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. Split. When it dies, if it had 2 or more +1/+1 counters on it, create a token that's a copy at the beginning of the next end step. That token enters the battlefield with half. That's really cool. And it keeps splitting. And splitting. I think we run Twin Flame just for the possibility of extra combat steps later. You'll see. Ooh, Scoot Swarm. Nah, Bramble Sovereign is definite because we want to make, where are you? Yes, there we go. Bramble Sovereign. Whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield, you may pay a generic and a green. If you do, that creature's controller creates a token that's a copy of that creature. Can do it for other people's, but we ain't about that life. We're gonna clone our extra combat dudes. We're starting with the clones because there's not nearly as many in green, and ooh, red. He says, looking at Esika's Chariot, enters the battlefield, create 2/2/2 green cat creature tokens. When it attacks, which is a trigger that we can double, we can create a token that's a copy of target token I control. So if I trigger my abilities right, I think I can clone my clones. Such as, actually, we probably won't run Godo the Bandit Warlord. Well, we do have Helm of the Host, so you know, Godo is solid. Godo Bandit Warlord. He does have an attack trigger. It says attacks for the first time each turn, but that still triggers twice because it's put on the stack at the same as soon as it triggers the first time, which I think is whack. So we get multiple combat phases. If we're running clones, we probably should run Second Harvest. Oh yeah, it's an instant, so Second Harvest. Because this deck is gonna value out. We're gonna want a lot of haste enablers, but it's gonna be worth it. Splinter Twin, definitely Kiki because he's a clone. But I'm not sure how we feel about Splinter Twin. Do we do Mirror March? I think we really should use the enchantments as well, like Flame Shadow and Mirror March. Okay. Okay. Echo Chamber. Choose target opponent. Target opponent chooses target creature he or she controls, put a token creature into play, and treat it as a copy of the creature. The token creature is unaffected by summoning sickness this turn. At the end of turn, remove that token. I can only use this as sorcery though, and they get to choose. I don't like that. I want to make clones of my own shit. Is Soul Separator worth it then? I don't know. I only get one use out of it. And I'm a big fan of multiple uses of creatures. Minion Reflector. Could be. Because we're not necessarily cloning. Alright, I think we've got all the clones we need for the deck, which is pretty solid. We've got 14 cards that are mainly... Actually, it's not even 14 clones because we have Combat Celebrant and Godo in here already. So it's more like 12 clones, and then ways of expanding our token arsenal. So, our next step is to create attack triggers. Whenever attacks creatures and then we'll organize it. I could be more specific about what I want, which I probably should, and go with, ooh, Bomat Courier is insane. That's so much value. That's so much value. It attacks. Oh, I love that. Because most of what we want, like Copperhorn Scout, gives us pseudo double vigilance. So our other creatures are this is making me not want to run the Godo combo and just go straight into like extra combat steps without Godo. Helm is still good, but I don't need Godo for this. I love you, Godo, but you're on the back burner. We don't need you for this one. Because we're actually just going to go straight for it, actually. Additional combat. Oh, no, I need a creature. Port Razor. That's the one. Port Razor's my pirate boss. Hellkite Charger and Rada. Is it RHA day? Whatever. I've never been able to make Lightning Runner work, and it makes me so sad. Scourge of Thrones, of course, because Scourge of the Throne. Oh yeah. For those of you who don't know, one of the attack triggers that can be doubled by Wulfgar is Dethrone. So Treasonous Ogre has a double prerogative. Now we also want Port Razor, which I haven't added yet. Excuse me. Hey. So we've got Port Razor, Hellkite Charger, Scourge of the Throne, Combat Celebrant, additional creature each combat. Yeah, I think that's all the ones for creatures. Let's try enchantments. I think there's only like, yeah, Aggravated Assault and Breath of Fury. Oh. Aggravated. And Breath of Fury. So, essentially, what we want here are bonkers nuts on attack triggers, filling out our deck, essentially. So on attack, we get something. We have a few clones, which are not on attack, but a lot of what we do is on attack. Fellhide Spirit Binder lets us basically clone anything that gets us an untap step. Because every time we say clone a new port raiser, that new port raiser can attack another player, which gives us a new combat step. But now port raiser gives us 2 new combat steps with Wulfgar. So by cloning the port raiser, we get an even greater amount of value, and we should be able to like just wallop our way to the top. Which is why I think I want Tiloni's Summoner, just because I'll be able to make them permanent by double trick. I think it says I have the ability to play X whenever I attacks creature red and green. Tiloni's Summoner will be really quick in here. So, because it's like 2 mana. LOL, double trigger Norn the Rary. Doesn't do anything, but you know. Oh, I want Savage Ventmaw. That gives me so much value. There was another dragon that they printed that like has an attack trigger like Ventmaw's. It's like legendary green red. I think no, I'm gonna keep going through here. I'll find it eventually. What do I Karizev makes a legendary token, so I don't want that. Think Radha. Oh, now I can find all the Radhas. Cool. Grand Warlord Radha is the one I want, because it makes all my dudes make mana. Radha Air Heart of Keld doesn't have an attack trigger, but she lets you play lands from the top of your library. And she has a pretty solid activated ability, but she's not like the best for what we're going for here. This Radha, however, gives us quadruple red every time we attack. We have to use it, but if we put some combat tricks in, that shouldn't be hard. Plus, she can tap to make green. She's a good mana dork at the very least, which is something else we're going to need in this deck to make Aggravated Assault and Hellkite Tyrant work without a cloner. So making mana is important. Targnar Demon Fang Knoll. That's a new boy. Whenever he attacks, if you attacked with creatures with total power 6 or greater, this combat attacking creatures get +1/+0. It's not a bad ability. Double Targ's power and toughness until end of turn. So for 4 mana, I can make him into a 4/4. I like him. Yeah, he's probably in this deck too, just because of the way they're pushing him. Because you see, wait, Robber of the Rich is 2 mana? Yeah, we're running Robber of the Rich. Hurt the blue player. Oh my god, the value in this deck is insane. I wish some of these 2 manas were like better. I know it's probably pretentious to say, but I wish they were better. Choose a card name. Conspiracy Theorist might be dope. Whenever Conspiracy Theorist attacks, you may pay 1 and discard a card if you do draw a card. That's solid value, but it triggers and I have to pay mana to do it, so I'm kind of veering away from it. Like, double triggering a combat step thing is dope, but if I have to pay for it, it becomes less dope. Tiloni's Summoner attacks, you may pay. Yeah. Which can... I like Tiloni's Summoner. I guess if I put... No. I used to run Voltaic Brawler in my 60 card version of this deck, where I cloned energy creatures to get the lightning runner. Captain Lannery makes me a lot of mana. I like Captain Lannery, which means Magna also. If a creature you control attacking. So I think the way this would work. Now, chat, tell me if I'm wrong. Yeah, clone combats is basically the goal here, Josh. Sup, by the way. And everyone else, hey. I know I've been kind of rambling to myself, haven't been checking on chat, but thanks y'all for coming. The gist of what I'm trying to do is clone extra combats in green-red. Now, outside of that, I'm just trying to get as much value from my creature package as possible. Like with Robber of the Rich, Bomat Courier, Copperhorn Scout. So I'm going to have like most of my mana base probably be mana dorks. But as it stands, I was about to look for whether or not Magda tapping would trigger Wulfgar's ability, because her attacking is what's causing her to tap, but she's tapping nonetheless. So would it trigger twice? Anybody got any ideas on that? Well, I'll wait for you guys, but I'm gonna put her in anyway, because she's kind of sick, and one of my combo pieces is a dragon, and if I can make treasures by attacking, oh, Ragavan, right? Is Ragavan work? Oh no, he deals combat damage. Damn. I mean, it's still good, but I want on attack triggers, you know? That's what I'm going for here. Well, it's combat on your turn. Oh, I get to run Hunwyr Garrison and Hunwyr Battlements and Hunwyr the Writhing Township because they all have attack triggers. Bet. So Hunwyr Battlements is insane. Hunwyr Garrison. Now I get Hunwyr Battlement, or Hunwyr the Writhing Township, which is just a disgusting image, because he makes doofs on attack. And as I get up there, oh, yo, Sarms, thank you for the sub. So, should I run Inexorable Blob? You're the first one. You're the first one, my dude. Ooh. Grenzo is a deals combat damage trigger. Layla the Blade Forge is pretty cool here. And so is Legion Warboss. He's got Mentor, which is a double trigger. Mentor and Melee are all pretty solid triggers in this type of a deck. Pyreheart Wolf doesn't stack, unfortunately. Predator Ooze is nice, but I'm not sure if I can get to the triple green necessary to just drop it and be like, hey, yeah, that's easy to hold and drop. I want to keep things generally like mostly Krenko, Tin Street, Kingpin levels of it, you know? Oh, wait. Put a plus boost counter on it, and then, okay. Krenko's actually pretty sick because he grows, and that's a double trigger. And I get, what, 3? Yeah. And Layla gets huge, too. And with all the mana I can amass in my second step, I think Layla is pretty solid here. is it LEA? LAE. Magic cards are not always the most intuitive when it comes to figuring out how they're spelled in your brain. I probably don't want to go any higher than this, except for like maybe 1 or 2 more cards. Taloni Skin Shifter is an interesting one. I could go Ilharg to drop. Is Emberwild Captain? No, that's whenever an opponent attacks me. Fireflux Squad can get me better creatures. Because my top end's, like, I don't have a huge top end, but dragons are always kind of hefty, you know? Because I haven't even figured out how my mana base is going to work yet, and I still have 30 cards to choose. Like, should I go with a creature-based ramp package, or should I go with a artifact/land-based ramp package? I could transform my lands into creatures to untap them during combat, whenever I get an extra combat step like that, but that could also run me the risk of instant speed removal. Rare, I know, but what am I gonna do? I was debating on Goreclaw as well. Oh, wait. I'm dumb. The Discord was telling me about this, actually. Hans Eriksson. Whenever Hans attacks, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature card, put it onto the battlefield tapped and attacking, defending player or planeswalker they control. Otherwise, put that card into your hand. When you put a creature card onto the battlefield this way, it fights Hans. Now, if I get 2 triggers, even if Hans is dead, I still get 2 triggers. So I think I'm going to put Hans in. And that kind of solidifies this as a deck that just wants to swarm with creatures. And basically every other section is in support of that. Because I want value. I want so much value. Maybe I run fast mana spells. Vengeful Ancestor enters battlefield or attacks Goad. It has to attack each combat if able. World Shaper. There's gotta be another big end. Elder Gargaroth is kind of crazy with him. Elder Gargaroth, I think. Yeah, Elder Gargaroth. Of course there's going to be a Goreclaw. Oh, yo, Josh, I need to know. Does Magda's becomes tapped effect work with Wulfgar? I'm debating whether or not to still put Goreclaw in. I mean, now that I'm looking at it, my 4 power, I only have 4 creatures with 4. Oh wait, never mind. My commander. That's enough of a reason. You're right. I should have just had Goreclaw. I'm big dumb. Don't mind me. Oh, Goldspan Dragon is an attack trigger. double fight Grothama. I can make him double fight Gothama. Does he specifically say only my creatures? Yeah, I control. So, Kessid Cage Breakers is a go. You just hold them in your hand and your opponents will cry. Okay, I'm going to start looking for haste outlets soon. Once I get to my 40th card, I think I should start looking for a haste outlet. Because I'm starting to get into that real high upper cost. Oh my god! Double on Atali! And the Dino Pet is back. There's no way I'm not putting Atali in here. I gotta really bolster my low end. I'm gonna just add Rhythm of the Wild because it came to my mind. Like, that card also needs to be in this deck just to keep me moving. Is Wolf of Devil's Breach worth it? Nah. Inferno Titan, though. Pathbreaker can end things. A Targa can give double strike. Bane of Balaged is 4 permanents. Drakuseth is absolute insanity. So this is now a secret dragon deck because I'm addicted to dragons. Cloth, that's the one. Cloth was the other new dragon I was talking about. It says, whenever he attacks, add X mana in any combination of colors where X is the total power of attacking creatures. Spend this mana only to cast spells. Until end of turn, you don't lose this mana as steps and phases end. Yeah. Cloth. I'm adding Cloth, because that's a lot of mana. And even if it can only be spent on creatures and not abilities, that's still a shit ton. I think he just has to be my top end. I don't even know what else I really want in here as a top end. Oh, they revealed the Tarask. Haste, Ward 10. Whenever the Tarask attacks, it fights target creature defending player controls. So long as you cast it... Do I put the Tarask in the deck? Chat. Whatever. Oh no. It's a good thing these auto-save. But I think that's it from like my main on attacks trigger stuff. Yeah, that's kind of gnarly, I'm not gonna lie. I think I'm gonna add Bane of Balaged for posterity's sake, because it's kind of insane. Oh shit, Annihilator. Annihilator. He doubles Annihilator triggers. It's not even funny. I'm disgusted that I even came to the realization that I can do that, because now I feel dirty because I can. You know? I just feel wrong that that's even an option. Grun. Okay. We're gonna go back to the advanced search. Maybe we do put Lightning Runner in because we can clone it, but we don't have any other energy outlets, so it kind of feels bad, you know? I found a card combination that just makes me feel awful, Shar. I feel bad that I figured it out, you know? I feel bad that somebody else is going to use it, because you could totally make a deck around green red Eldrazi and just make people really, really sad and not have any permanence. But either way, we're just gonna keep plowing through here. So since we're making a green red clones deck, we are hoping to get to extra combats. I want to just put creatures on the board and make triggers on attacks. So attacks in red, green, and we're looking at enchantments now. I can't spell. There it is. Attacks, enchantments in green and red. So all these enchantments coming up will have some kind of on attack trigger, because our commander triggers whenever that specific effect triggers from an attack. Let's see what we can pull out of our bum. Ordeal of Nylea is pretty solid because it can pop after the second swing, or and it ramps with us. We need more low-costed creatures though, because I think our curve right now. Oh, it's actually not even that bad. That just means we have to focus more on getting to turn 4, because that's where the majority of our stuff sits. Druid's Repository is an amazing card. It gives us mana for each attacking creature we have. Well, not even just gives us mana, but it gives us a counter on it that we can remove for mana. This is all of them. All the enchantments in red and green that talk about a creature attacking. Actually, let's try the word attacking, because syntax matters. Bow of Nylea, of course. Attacking would cause an ability to trigger. So I think curses also double for us specifically. So I might just run Curse of Opulence, because it gives me an excuse to hurt people. Nice. Nice. I wish I could have taken a nap today. And that would be the most opulent thing. Alright. Sorted by CMC, per usual. I want... None of these are really worth it. Okay, that's fine. So, we're out of enchantments. Excuse me. Preemptive. Excuse me. But SARMs, it would have been so nice. Attacks, artifacts. Maybe I can find a bed for my guys, you know. Diplomatic career. I don't want to remove counters. I want. Captain's Clause gives me dudes, so that's not terrible. Smuggler's Copter is a double trigger. That's pretty solid. Sword of the Animist is a must include, just because I love that card as a ramp piece. Thank you, Shar. I accept your blessing. Sword of the Animist is great. Smuggler's Copter is iffy on me, you know? Because Smuggler's Copter is great, but No, Smuggler's Copter's great. What am I kidding? It counts as a creature. And most of our ramp is definitely going to be like creatures, just because. Mobile Garrison Unit is also pretty solid, because it lets us untap another creature. Grappling Hook, Moonsilver Spear. These are all the ones with attack triggers. Well, that was a nice try. I think Tremp Blade. Alright, I think I just start looking for haste now. So probably just anger at the very least. Because anger and I don't like the little angry baby looking one. It's so much cooler as a magma man, you know? But the other one I was thinking of was Brawn gives trample. But first things first, I want to give the ability to give my creatures haste all over the place. Hammer Purpose can make me a dude. Tuck Rebel Fort. Defender Reach. I think I go Urbrask here. Urbrask and Serac. I like that. Urbrask. It's at the beginning of combat, so I can... Alright. So I'm at 50 cards with 34 creatures, which means the rest of my build up until like my 65th card, so about 15, I'm gonna go for ramp spells. My next 15 cards are all ramp. So I want creatures, green and red, mana value less than or equal to 2. And that have the tap this permanent symbol. And we're gonna go, we need, what's our ratio of color right now? Mostly red, actually, so. In our early game, we're gonna want to add red to our mana pool, which is interesting. So let's see. So let's start with any color. So Birds of Paradise is gonna be a thing, regardless. Birds, Beast Caller. Make land war elves. Yes. I made haste to find haste, but 'twas not a lot of haste. I didn't reorder it. I think I run Honored Hierarch just because this deck wants to be aggressive, so sending him at whoever's open turn 1 is great. X number of enchantments you control. I don't run very many enchantments, but it itself is an enchantment and doesn't have defender, but it is weak to lightning bolts. But does that really matter for me? I don't think so. And I do run a decent amount of enchantments, I guess. Thank you. Nope. Still no taps for red dork. I'm so sad. I mean, there is Orcish Lumberjack. But Orcish Lumberjack has a hefty price. I think I'm going to run the Spirit Guides too. Just because powering out... I spelled guides. Elvish Spirit Guide lets me get a green, and Simian lets me get a red. I don't really know if I give a crap about Soul Ring in this deck. I want mostly 1 mana dudes. I think these are all the ones that say any color, so let's just look for specifically red. And then go green. It's worth. Yeah, the Weaver is solid because it at bare minimum it's a 2 mana 0/2 that can tap for a 1 mana of any color if it survives the round. Yeah, it's an enchantment, which means it's doubly easy to kill, but at the same time, that doesn't really matter in a deck that's just gonna put out a lot of dudes that need to be killed in general. Like, I think I need Seasons Pass just to make this deck function at the end game after so many board wipes. It'll be like my one big return spell. Yeah, I need more mana. I have 42 creatures in this deck. What I really need, I guess, is some interaction, but that'll come at the end when I'm pruning creatures I don't need to make this deck work better. So we've got 1 mana tap. Yeah, Orcish Lumberjack adds green or red. Can only cast elementals or Chandra spells. Pay a green for a red. Iron Mirror, and I already got Rada. So we're gonna add green, which most of us here already know what's gonna be in there. Honestly, yeah. If they want to blow up my dude, I'ma just let it ride. Because it's a mana dork. I'll let them blow the removal on things that don't matter. Considering this deck is entirely just threats. Everything about it is supposed to be threatening. If I get haste, you're probably not going to be a happy camper. Well, that's to be said about most decks with haste, but this deck in particular is combat triggers on combat triggers. Isn't there is it Geode Golem that drops your commander from the command zone for attacking? Oh, it deals damage to a player. Sad. I mean, it is a way to get it back on the battlefield, but in the end, not what I'm looking for. Devoted Druid, Elvish Mystic, Fin Hornells. I really should just bolster my entire lower end with elves, huh? They are just that good at being mana dorks. So, got the backbone of the deck. Let's make it an even 45 creatures and add in a Priest of Titania. Because I think I have a decent number of elves in the deck, to be honest. Like Copperhorn, Elvish Mystic, Findhorn. So that's like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I got 8 elves in the deck. I mean, it's not a lot, but bare minimum, she's a 2-mana 1/1. Devoted Druid Malira for infinite mana, but it seems arbitrary when the rest of the deck doesn't really go for that type of a win, you know? Because what I'm trying to go for is amassing mad value out of all of my creatures attacking with Wulfgar, but the infinite mana, I guess, would be useful if I went with Finale of Devastation. I could go with a Finale of Devastation type of end con, considering I haven't added Court of Calling in yet, and I think Lurking Predators is worth here, just because it punishes people for casting spells. I mean, I guess Devoted Malira can also help me get off my, where is it, Hellkite Charger combo. So I can see that. Okay. But now I don't need any tutors necessarily, but I'm at 66. Where's my curve looking? Oh, that's fat at the bottom. Look at that fat bottom curve. I have a lot in the 2-drop slot and a lot in the 4-drop slot. So my land base, I'm gonna add Finale of Devastation, and now I can work on my land base. So I think I'm gonna cut Twin Flame just because I'm not running any of the infinite combos with Twin Flame. And I think I'm gonna cut. No, actually I have a lot of non-legendary creatures I can copy with Kiki that are worth it. He's pseudo haste. I like this. This deck is coming along nicely. Yeah. The thick ass curve. Ain't that the truth? So, I'm gonna need more interaction with my opponents, I think. Just on base here, I think I don't have a lot of interaction with my opponents, so I might want a little bit more, but I'll come back to that after we get lands in here. Because the only land in here so far is Honware Battlements, which is also a haste land. Love that. But I digress. Lands. Ancient Tomb, of course, because I need big mana. Even if it's colorless mana, big mana is big mana. Bane of Balaget I've never personally used. I've never used a physical copy of it, but upon learning that it doubles triggers with him, I came to the realization that that would also double trigger Annihilator. So I'm not saying that somebody should make a Wulfgar Annihilator deck, but I'm also not saying that I won't do it. Just saying. Yeah, that is a fear with Kiki. he's such a great value engine that but that also that either means he warrants removal on the spot, or I guess in terms of other aggro decks, I'll just get aggroed. But even so, I was probably gonna get aggroed anyway. Yeah, value, like saying just value Kiki is kind of skeezy, just because value Kiki is like any deck with a Kiki Jiki is value Kiki. Double Annihilator Wulfgar. I mean, I ran Eldrazi Tribal in red black, so I assume you could probably get away with it in green red too. Like, get a Nyx Bloom Ancient out really early on in the game and just start powering out Eldrazi, because he also doubles Ulamog's attack trigger as well, the Ceaseless Hunger, so you can exile the top 40 cards of their library. Not to mention, like, just having him in the 99 of an attack trigger deck. I was debating whether or not I should just make this a Naya deck, because I would get more extra combat stuff from white. Like, I would get War Leader Aurelia and be able to just take as many combats as I want. Yeah, I'd say, like, those grab lands cards would be pretty relevant here, just because I have, like, nothing that isn't a creature. So lands are going to be pretty important to thin out. I guess getting rid of Beast Caller Savant would be fine. Orcish Lumberjack's insane, so I'm gonna keep him. I mean, I know nobody was coming at my Orcish dude, but I've had people attack me for my Orcish Lumberjack choices. And Orcish Lumberjack has my heart in a heart-shaped box, because he has gotten me into and out of so many sticky situations. But I don't know. At 3 mana, I actually have a lot of creatures that are worth playing. Like Captain Lannery, Hanwer Garrison, Krenko Kingpin, and Layla. So, would I want to be ramping at that point in time, or would I prefer to ramp with less mana? Yeah, Rampant Growth is something that I'm thinking too. So, it's Rampant Growth. What's the other one? Farseek gets me a mountain, 3 visits. Thank you. I love me some Lumberjack too. Cradle Dark. Which one do you mean? Of course, I'm going to add a Nykthos. This deck punches out so much mana that a Nykthos could actually end the game right then and there. Did they create like a Gaia's Cradle on a dude? I guess this deck could run Growing Rights. And that does dig me deeper towards my creatures, so. Circle of the Dream Druid. Let me see. I found Circle of the Moon Druid. Is that the one you were talking about, or am I just going crazy? Oh, yeah, no, Circle of the Moon Druid is not it. Did they just spoil him today? Yeah, Circle of the Dream Druid. They won't have it in the deck builder yet. Rampant Growth. And Farseek. It dies to board wipes, but Dryad Arbor is insane because I get to add Green Sun Zenith just because I can play it turn 1. with a forest, and it's basically rampant growth. I was thinking about Old Gnawbone. I was going mainly for the attack triggers here, but I think Gnawbone might be better than the Ventmaw. No, it's that Ventmaw gives me 12 mana. Never mind. Gnawbone's insane though. I run Klauth, the Unrivaled Ancient, who is 7 mana 4/4 flyer, and gives me mana equal to the total power I'm attacking with. Oh wait. Did I add Neheb? It's Neheb, isn't it? Yeah. Oh no, it's a combat damage trigger. I mean, it's still really good and gives me mana, but it's a combat damage trigger. And I'm trying to avoid combat damage triggers just because... combat damage triggers require me to actually make contact. And that's the hard part, is making contact. But if I get all of my attacks just on the stack triggering off on my Panharmonicon commander over here, then what are they going to do about it? What are they going to do about it? I think I got to cut Hans. He doesn't survive the upper end of my curve, and I also don't want him to kill any of my lower end of my curve, like my bird or something, you know? So, Hans, I like you. Treasure is forever. Okay, if I get rid of Hans, and maybe like one more other creature, I could justify Old Gnawbone. Okay, Char. That's so cheesy. I love it, but it's cheesy. That's some Tolkien stuff. I love it. I do run Goldspan Dragon, so Old Gnawbone does get... Y'all have a point, though. You know, I'm both simultaneously the guy who makes people run stacks, but also runs stacks himself. I'm the reason people play stacks, but I'm also the stacks player. I think, yeah, Kiki's out. But Old Gnawbone and Goldspan are pretty solid in here. And I also run Magda, so like, yeah, I can get more dragons for the party. And one of my enchantments being Lurking Predators. Free creatures is dope. Whew, excuse me. Okay. I've got 28 slots left. Which are... Is it 28? Yeah. No, 27. No, 28 because it does count up. It counts my commander. Oh, that's a thick curve. So... Before I started adding mana dorks, green was not even close to being the largest color in the deck. I add mana dorks and green becomes the deck. And I want more green lands than I want red lands, ratio wise. And 32 lands I think is solid for this deck. In that, what's my average CMC? The average mana value of my main board is 2.3, and that's with lands, and 3.1, then 3.4 flat without lands. It's a very high CMC deck, like overall at 228, at least for what I usually make. Most of mine are below 200 total mana value. But yeah, like looking at this hand, this is surprisingly and scarily playable. If I had a devoted druid, it would be insane. But I can get Elder Gargaroth out. As long as I hold my spirit guide, I should be able to hold Gargaroth out turn 3. I'm gonna play test it just to see, you know. Y'all right. Stronic would work for 1 trigger. Stronic would only work for 1 trigger. But you have a point. I should look at some more utility lands before I test out the deck. Lands in red and white, or red and green. Alphabetical order. Keswick Wolfrun is a definite add. Because that card will never not be insane. Emberath. Embereth? Gaia's Cradle. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about adding lands that are like that expensive sometimes, because it's like it feels, yes, this would be the optimized form of the deck, which I guess because I'm making it online I can do, but it also feels like kind of skeezy to do it. I don't know. Is it skeezy to make the deck as like tight and uniform to what I'm like envisioning to and like not add the Gaia's Cradle? Because I have Itlamok and I want to add that new one, Dream Druid, but you don't think so? Fair. I mean, I usually don't actually buy the decks that I build in completion. I just enjoy the process of building them and making them function and work. And sometimes I play them online. And granted, we always have the ability to proxy. And so long as everyone's cool with proxy decks, like, in the end, it doesn't matter so long as we're having fun and agree on the rules. So I see what y'all mean. Blighted Woodland and Myriad Landscape are great. When I can't do anything else, I can at least tutor for lands. You have a point. Garenbrig. It was actually Josh who had me thinking more about Castle Garenbrig and its utility. It costs 5 lands, usually, to get 6 mana, which, as a return value, isn't all that great. Like, it gets me, like, 1 turn ahead, which can be the difference, but overall, Garenbrig has always kind of disappointed me. You're right. The Bugbear one, right? There's Den of the Bugbear, and then there's the Hydra one. What's that Hydra land? I mean, it's probably in here, actually. Because it has Hydra in the name, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Lair of the Hydra. Until a new turn, Lair of the Hydra becomes an XX green Hydra. Oh, it doesn't. But the Bugbear one does have an attack trigger, and it reads... Until end of turn, Den of the Bugbear becomes a 3/2 red goblin creature token with whenever this creature attacks, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token that's tapped and attacking. It's still a land. Pretty badass. I will give you that. It's pretty badass. I was gonna add Myriad Landscape. Because I can always remove basics as we move along. Wait. Cathedral of War actually works, I guess, in terms of giving +2/+2 to, like, Exalted triggers twice. But I think I'm a little too, color saturated? How many, like, actually, most of my creatures have single mana symbols, so I might be able to get away with it. But I'll add colorless lands at the end. Command Tower, of course. Crystal Vein entering untapped is the reason why I like putting it in decks. Just because that double colorless is pretty insane. And can be the difference between, like, being able to actually play a card you need. I don't run enough lands, I don't think, because I think I run around 32 lands, and Burgeoning wouldn't be nearly as good, like, unless I had an opening hand of Burgeoning and, say, 3 lands, then, but there's a low chance of that with 32 lands in the deck. Is Exotic Orchard worth it? I love Firelit Thicket just because I can always filter. It was actually, I'm gonna attribute this one to Josh again as changing my philosophy on lands. I started skimping on lands by lowering the average CMC of my decks. And also adding Moldal Double Face cards. You can really, or just Mana Dorks in general, because they double as a different thing in the deck. So my Birds of Paradise isn't just a Birds of Paradise, it's a Birds of Paradise that I can also swing to attack with to trigger, like, an ability, maybe. I don't even know. I think I have some things in here that work along with birds in attacking, but then I've also got Elvish Mystic that can untap and help pay for my Hellkite Charger. So I don't run a lot of lands, but at the same time, I run a lot of creatures or other cards that double as lands on my lower end, so that as long as I can get to 2 or 3 lands, I should be able to get enough more. Like, looking at this opening hand that I have right now, even though I'm at 106 cards, it's not the fastest hand in the world, but I can drop Rada turn 3 with this hand, I think. Yeah, like, that's pretty solid. Ah, dang. Josh was listening. He heard me. I love Solemn. It's one of my favorite cards in all of Magic. In just, like, that it's a boss. But I don't think he fits in this deck just because of how aggressive I'm being. And he seems more like a defensive mana ramp boy. Oh, just because I run a lot of low-end stuff that just generally... I should have Soul Ring, by all accounts. Like, there's no reason I shouldn't have Soul Ring, but I just didn't put it in. Shout out to Scoots. Ah, yeah, we were looking at lands. Don't mind me, I'm just easily distracted. Should I add a storage land? No storage lands? I find they're at least worth, like... Ooh, Growth of the Burn Willows. That's funny. Grove of the Burn Willows is actually kind of funny here. I'm gonna give them life, but it's gonna suck later. Yeah, they're slow, but at the same time, if you just hold on to it, and you can use any number of the counters at any time. Oh wait, I kind of want Treasure Vault. It's new, and it's very shiny, and I love it. It's an artifact land that, I mean, yeah, double X is rough, but if somebody's coming after it anyway, you might as well. I probably should run fetches like Fabled Passage and Mystic Confluence. Well, it's Fabled Passage and Mystic. Already added Fabled Passage, so... Yep, Kessig's already here. Mana Confluence is worth it, along with City of Wraths. Just because Rainbow lands are just intrinsically better. Yeah, it's not so bad. Like that, Vargoth Demon Tribal wins through Liliana's contract. Average CMC is 2.5 and runs 35 lands. I can see that. I mean, it's all preference at that point, because some people are able to aggressively mulligan better than others. Josh just has insane luck and tends to mulligan down to 4 with that insane luck. So he gets away with it. It doesn't punish him nearly as often. Me, however, when I get greedy, I tend to get hurt hard from my greed. And I love it. Like, it's funny because when the deck wins, you feel so much, you feel like, yes, I did it. I'm alleviated. But then you just like have to go through 6 or 7 games of pure agony sometimes to get there. Yeah. Wooded Foothills. Stomping Ground. Yeah. The man's is like able to just roll natural 20s on his hands, I swear. Natural 20 on these hands. Okay. Honestly, this deck ended up being pretty cheap too overall. But I mean, some of the cards in it aren't even priced yet. Like, I don't think Targ... Oh no, Targ's got one. He's like 76 cents. But our Commander's got no price. What is it? Clouth has no price. But it's about $600 on the average. Which, if you already have like half the deck in card form, then I mean it wouldn't even really matter. And if you're gonna just is Cradle of... What does Cradle of Growth say? I think I have to add Rogue's Passage just Ah, all my lands are green. That one is good. You're very right. I can remove a forest for that one. Yeah, that one is pretty solid. I think Rogue's Passage has to be in here just because any one creature given Rogue. I know how to spell, I swear. Rogue's Passage unblockable is pretty solid, so I think I take one more forest for that. How's my ratios looking? A third of a chance to get any of those. Like, and this opening hand's pretty solid, I gotta say. Like, it has chance. I can drop my commander, I think, turn 3. And he's a 5-drop, so that's not so bad. And Nykthos starts being useful around then, too. So, I should probably cut some of my creatures, to be honest. And maybe add in a few more lands. I think Bramble Sovereign has to go just because it's kind of scary. Every time I bring this thing to a table, I feel uneasy because I feel like someone could steal it and start making more value out of it than me, you know? But then again, this is a clones deck, and it's one of the few green clones in the whole game. I forgot one of the best clones. Tell me Mirage Mirror isn't the best card in EDH just because you can ham fist it into damn near any deck because it's just so freaking versatile. I love Mirage Mirror. Oh. Did I just... Oh, am I cutting out everybody? I'm hoping to come back soon. Phyrexian or Nebraska. Cool. Cool, we're back. I cut out for a little bit there, didn't I? Drakuseth is insane, by the way. I don't know if I said that while enough of you were in the chat. Drakuseth with Wulfgar is absolutely crazy. That's so many triggers. I was debating putting Sneak Attack in the deck, to be honest, because I just dropped so many freaking insane combat triggers that it's like, alright, bet. I think I gotta take out the Sovereign. It's the only card I think I can justify here. Because starting from the top, we've got Birds, early mana, Bowmat, early card advantage, and Pressure. Copperhorn Scout, double untap trigger. That can give me a lot of mana. I can use that for a lot of things. Elvish Mystic. Fintorn Elves, Honored Hierarch, Early Pressure, Early Mana, Mana in a combo, Early Mana, creatures I control. Malira actually has a couple of different options when it comes to what she can do for me. You can't get poison counters. That's pretty sick. Creatures can't have, your opponents can't have infect is also pretty sick. And creatures I control can't have -1/-1 counters put on them. So I can Devoted Druid. Priest of Titania and Rada, same deal. You really think I should cut Malira? It took some doing to get that entire combo into this deck for me anyway. And the main draw of the combo is that I can get infinite mana and just pound out my deck, but at the same time I feel like I don't have any engines that really allow me to make full use of the combo. I don't run a lot of tutors, and it would be something I'd have to fall into. It's because they haven't printed enough Infect, and I personally think that they need to print more Infect, my friend. I like it. Keeps you on your toes. I mean, it does keep you on your toes. I think I'll just add Exotic Orchard. Yeah. Nah, I'd actually rather have a land than both of them. Like, I mean, yeah, having the combo is nice, but overall, infinite green mana doesn't get me as far. Infinite red mana is what I would really need to like get this deck going. And I kind of want to get rid of Bramble Sovereign for another haste enabler, like Tux Fort or something. Devoted Druid Malira, because Malira prevents me from putting the counter on, but attempting the action doesn't activate the ability. Goblin Archaeomancer. I think the Bramble Sovereign's gotta go here. Maybe I just add one big red mana spell, like Mana Geyser or something. Seething Song. It is vodka and iced tea. Okay, cool. Then that makes that decision even easier for me. Because, I mean, I like the combo, or would have liked the combo if it worked, but maybe now I can run Seething Song? Or maybe I add another instant. I need a big... Actually, I know what I want. I want a big spell that gets rid of artifacts and enchantments. Mana Geyser is amazing. But I think I really do need at least some big interaction spell. Like something that makes people sad that I cast that. Destroy enchantment. Green, black, and red. Let's see. Sorcery or an instant. Will allow partial matches. Garruk's Uprising. What is Garruk's Uprising do? Because I can search here too. Garruk's Uprising enters battle. If you control creature power forward, go to draw a card. Creatures control trample up creature power forward, go to enters battle. Under your control, draw a card. That actually isn't bad. That's some good value. I was thinking Bane of Progress just because it fits in with the big creature beat face mentality that I'm going with. I could also go with a Planeswalker, but just because it would be the only walker in the deck, I would want it to be a very very strong walker, you know? One that gets me more ahead. So maybe like Vivian. Play off the top Vivian. Make a beast Vivian. Destroy X target artifacts and or enchantments. Create twice X black and green pests. Not bad. Three green centaur creature token. I don't like giving my opponents creatures, so that's probably a no. Storm the Citadel lets me break everything on combat, but doesn't give me trample. Lame. Oh. Force of Vigor. No, it requires me to exile a card. Yeah, the pest card. Pest Infestation, I've been looking at that. I think Pest Infestation because it gives me bodies. Like, that's something you can't get just every day is like a token. I mean, Release the Gremlins lets me hit artifacts, but it's just artifacts. This one is just straight up destroy artifacts and enchantments. Okay. Now, I'm gonna group them by mana value, and we're gonna see the curve and what it looks like in real time. I've got 11 1-drops. I don't count Pest Infestation because I never count X spells in there where their normal CMC counts, unless it's for CMC related shenanigans, you know. We've also got Farseek. So in our mana value 2, we've got Farseek, Finale, Magda, Ordeal of Nylea because it can pop after 2 swings if my commander's out, and like even so, it can make some of our things actually formidable, decently sized. Sanctum Weaver can actually get decently big. I'm still debating Rada Heir to Keld. Just because that double red at instant speed doesn't really do anything. I could just turn her into like Gyre Sage or something. Actually, I think I might. I saw Gyre Sage get to an 80-80 the other day, so you know. Meme wrecked. Wow. Good .gif, my dude. Good .gif. But yeah, I added Gyre Sage, which she goes right here. Another 2-drop for a 2-drop, but she's easier to cast technically because I only need green. Okay, I don't know how many of you know. I don't know. Spam accounts seem to like me, I guess. So I don't know if you guys know, but Targnar Demon Fangnull is crazy in this deck. I'm pretty sure he's in... Actually, no, he's part of the set. He's part of the set, not the commander deck. But his pack tactics is insane because it can be applied twice. So it's +1, that's 2, +2 plus, oh, wow, can't speak. +2 + 0 to all of my creatures. But he also comes with the ability to strip double his own power. So you can make him into 4. But if you do it on attack, he can go up to 8. But, and he's 2 mana, he's a 2 mana 2/2 straight up. So like he's already pretty formidable. Like he doesn't have any keywords or anything, but he can get deadly. Robber of the Rich as a double trigger is also crazy in this deck. Whenever Robber of the Rich attacks, if defending player has more cards in hand than you, exile a top card of their library. During any turn you attacked with a rogue, you may cast that card, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast that spell. Bare minimum, steals a card from them if they are already ahead. Like, it's even worse if, say, they tutored for something to put on top of their library already, and you can just steal that away, and now you've got like a rogue purse. I don't run a lot of rogues. I'm pretty sure she's the only rogue in the deck. Like, I have mostly druids or scouts, but either way, still solid. Another attack trigger is Smuggler's Copter, which can be used with basically all of our mana dorks except for Bird. Sword of the Animus also gets a double trigger off our commander. Where else are we? Lannery Storm. 2 treasure tokens. I'm still not entirely sure on Combat Celebrant. I was thinking of Wild Beastmaster. I looked at it earlier, and I'm not entirely sure if I should run it because I don't generally buff my creatures. You know what I mean? Like, I don't buff my creatures, but my creatures can still get formidable. So it's like Beastmaster would just be a 1/1. I think I should just keep Combat Celebrant just because it combos with Flame Rush Rider in my 5-drop slot. But Combat Celebrant is close to the chopping block for Lightning Runner, maybe. Granted, I made the argument about energy before, and that it's not nearly as good, but we'll see. Druid's Repository is two counters per creature that attacks. The Spirit Guides are here to get me mana if I need it. Like, both of them are just kind of like really freaking good. I like how Elvish Spirit Guide is worth way more than Simian Spirit Guide, but they do the same thing. Reprint the guides. Growing Rites of Itlimoc digs me deeper and eventually transforms. Hanwer Garrison gives me 4 dudes when it attacks. Krenko gives me 3 dudes on his first attack, and then 5 dudes on his second attack. That's what I'm saying. It's like, why is Elvish Spirit Guide worth more? And is it because Simian Spirit Guide's been printed? Like, just print a new one. Oh, that's a pretty card. I'm gonna use the pretty art. It's a foil, but it's, yeah, reprint my freaking Spirit Guides. Ooh, I never thought about Cultivator of Blades. Let me look for it. Ooh, you have a point, Josh. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna add the Ibex too, and Beastmaster. So now I have 103 cards. I think Essica's Chariot's gotta go because I technically don't make that many tokens. Harrow is nice. Harrow is very nice. I think I have to get rid of Helm of the Host. It's too much mana. Like, I don't make a lot of mana and I just want to be pumping it into dudes. No, I get rid of Second Harvest because I generally won't have the ability. I won't, like, I'm making clones, but they don't generally stick around. I know, but I love the Helm so much. Also, if I put the Helm on my commander, that is 3 freaking triggers on my attack stuff, which means if I attack and get an extra combat step from that attack trigger, like with Port Razor, my god. Or freaking Atali, that's 3 cards off of the top of everybody's library with Atali. I can justify getting rid of the seasons the seasons one, but the Helm of the Host, if I can get it off, it'll feel so good. It'll feel so good. Thank you, Death Singer. And yeah, I know, all commander copies are insane. But I also get Goreclaw copies, Sirach copies, like, all my creatures are honestly worth copying, hence why this is supposed to be red-green clones. Like, Vandablast is sorcery. Is it? I hope I'm right. Ah! Oh no, my internet's being slow. It's in the 5 slot. Oh no, it's a 1 drop. I forgot. Vandablast. Yep, sorcery. I knew it. Whew. And it's like, I don't run a lot of artifacts in general. But, nice try. Yeah, it's a sorcery. I wish it was an instant, but at the same time, I'm also really glad it's not an instant. Oh. I'm adding Heroic Intervention because that card will save lives. Card will inevitably save my ass. But if I have to get rid of cards now. I don't know how often I'll be playing things post-combat. I think combat's my general endgame, and Leala, she gets really huge, but she also digs my library out, so permanently. So she's out. Yeah, Cyclonic Rift is a instant, but Vandablast isn't. And Vandablast, if it was to be an instant, would probably be 3 more mana. Just by my guess, by the way that they generally balance things like that, is like, blue can always have instants for the cheap, but every other color to do something similar would have to pay like twice, if not 3 times as much. I'm going to cut from the top. Do I get rid of the Beastmaster? Because I already have the Cultivator of Blades and the Ibex? Because the Beastmaster requires buffing, whereas the other 2 do not. Well, the Cultivator does, but it can come in with 2 counters on it either way. Yeah, I think Beastmaster is just bad here. Sorry, Josh. Wild Beastmaster's got to go to the sideboard. I don't know how many people know about this card, Breath of Fury. It says, whenever enchanted creature deals combat damage to a player, sacrifice it and attach Breath of Fury to another creature you control. If you do, untap all creatures you control, and after this phase, there's an additional combat phase. I want to keep it in the deck, but I don't know if I can justify it based on the fact that I can only use it to make combats. But Looter Scooter, I can, but it's copping. I might actually cut Breath of Fury just because the only creatures that I have that make tokens on attack are Hanwar Garrison and Krenko. And thus, they're the only ones that can perpetuate that cycle the way I need it to be. So Breath of Fury ends up being lackluster. Y'all really think that Smuggler's Copter ain't worth it? As a 3/3 flyer that gets me a double loot? I don't know. I really like the card value from it. But at the same time, I understand it's kind of a liability, but if I cut it, I'd probably just cut it for a land, you know? Maybe an MDFC. I actually haven't checked on what the MDFCs could be for me here. I think I want MDFC instant just because. Oh yeah, I have Valakut Awakening. I'd rather have Valakut Awakening. I guess y'all get what you wanted. The copter's gone because Valakut Awakening is dope. My freaking endgame. I have so many dragons. There's 6 dragons in the deck. A pseudo dragon, 1 Eldrazi. Oh, there's 7 dragons in the deck. Never mind. Yeah. This is I think this came out pretty solid so far. Like looking at the clustering and everything, and the way I have a lot of 7 drops for a deck with only 34 lands. But I think having 34 lands is better than my original starting amount of 32. And like, look at that sick curve. Look at it. Look at that beautiful curve. Wait, Curse of Opulence is $8? What? When did that happen? True, we are down to 100 cards. I guess treasures really are the next step in Magic. And we have exactly a 33% on all of our land bases. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, seeing as it means we have a 1 in 3 chance of having a forest in our opening hand. So I can drop Blighted Woodland and Birds of Paradise on turn 1. And then if if I can't draw a land, I get Valakut Awakening. I'm going to playtest this hand. This is an interesting hand. Because Krenko's 3. So yeah, we're going to go Blighted Woodland. We're going to exile the Spirit Guide and play a Birds of Paradise. Move to next turn. We didn't draw a land, so the Valakut Awakening is going to enter as a land. Next turn, got a forest. We're at 4. So Krenko. Next turn, sweet, we got there. We got to 5. Player commander, swing with Krenko. Krenko triggers. He gets a counter. Goes up 1. I get a goblin. Then he triggers again. I get 2 more goblins. All tapped and attacking as well. So that's me swinging for 6. 6. Yeah. Honestly, Magic decks have a pretty it's especially EDH. It doesn't feel as expensive as it is when you're holding the cards. I don't know. It's weird because yeah, I don't feel like my collection's worth as much as it is, and it really is almost like watching the stock market. Like, there is literally a Reddit page called MTG Stocks, because cards rise and fall like stock prices all the time based on new cards entering the market, new decks being built, new metas being formed, and all that. So yeah, the price on the secondary market for this deck may be like almost $600, but it also depends on, you won't have to spend all that generally if you own some of the cards already, or are willing to trade some of the cards you have with other cards other people have for similar value. So yeah, I look at a deck and I build it and I look at the price tag and I'm like, $600. And then I look at the individual cards and I'm like, how many of these do I already have? Plus, we always advocate proxying, because it is an expensive game. Like, entering the game can be very expensive. My first EDH deck was almost entirely gifted to me, or like most of the cards in it were given to me by friends who were like, hey, you'd probably enjoy this card because of the way you play the game. So you start your collection somewhere. I started with like a box of Tut rares and some commons and uncommons. Either way, back to the playtest. Next turn, I untap everything. We're on turn 5. I have my commander, and I just drew Goldspan Dragon, who has haste. I think I have to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Goldspan. Alright. Move to combat. Melee. Whenever this creature attacks, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each... excuse me. For each opponent you attacked this combat. So, we're going to swing the tokens at 3 different players. He's going to get +3/+3. Or actually +6/+6, because he doubles his own melee trigger. So he's swinging as a... So he gets +6/+6. Shit. And then Krenko double triggers again, which means I get 3 tokens. 1, 2, 3. Tapped and attacking, and then I get 4 tokens tapped and attacking. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then Goldspan Dragon attacks. I double the trigger with this. When it becomes, I get 2 treasures. And that's me swinging for 6, 16. 16 plus 4 is 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. I swing for a total of 30, which puts, if I swung all at one player, well, I wouldn't have swung all at one player, but so the benefit of the doubt is that at least one of these goblins didn't go to that player, so they're at 6. Next turn, I will assume I killed them, but yeah, that was a lot. It's so much synergy. Anthem attacks wouldn't be bad. Anthem effects. Yeah, I can see that. Oh wait, y'all were talking earlier about the deck prices. I wanna see what that's all about. Yeah, overall, I also agree with you, Wyvern. I avoid the most expensive cards unless it's something that I absolutely need to finish a deck. Like, if it's a card that I either absolutely want or absolutely need, like I need that card, or that card just screams to me in an aesthetic way or a player way, then that's the only reason I'll get it. But some cards I think are just too expensive, and I'll wait for them to drop, hopefully. Most of the decks I have are made of tut, rare, like stuff I just found around. I built with what I could. Yeah, I think that proxies are perfectly fine, and I am actually working on a project currently for y'all that 100% I recommend proxying for, because it's meant to play against itself. So proxying it and keeping it in your car even is just a good way to have decks on hand for a whole group to play Magic all at once if you want to. But I digress. Proxy, it's not bad. Yeah, this, I was using Krenko, one EMTG. I was using Krenko for this, for what we got going on right here. Goldspan Dragon is also kind of insane here because these 2 tokens tap for 4. So I could have technically dropped my Fellhide Spirit Binder last turn instead of completing this turn. But I also run Hellkite Charger here. Like, I'd be able to get at least 2 extra. I'd be able to get 1 extra combat here. But that's just because the Hellkite Charger's ability can trigger twice. Now, this was kind of absurd, and if I was going in on one player, then he'd be absolutely wasted. And the fact that Krenko has been on the battlefield for 2 turns and is a 6/7 is kind of also absurd. Oh no, it's not equal to the tokens, it's equal to his power. I should have... Okay, that person's so dead. Oh yeah, Lannery Storm is also in this list. I think Magda counts. I'm not entirely sure, because she's tapping to attack. So long as you're tapping her to attack, it'll trigger twice. Don't quote me on that. I'm not entirely sure. What? Your local meta is missing out on a blast, man. Hey, watch it, Sarms. I'm quoting you. Quoted. If it says taps, then it's a tap trigger. Okay, that's fair. I still like Magda just because of the sheer number of treasures this deck can produce with Old Gnawbone and Goldspan and Captain Lannery and such. So I think it's still worth keeping because I can tutor for Goldspan or Hellkite Charger or even Old Gnawbone. Like, I'm gonna restart this and see what I get. And Krenko's in my opener again. I got Bomat Courier this time though. I think I'm gonna... Yeah, this is keepable. This is keepable. Yeah. Tectonic Giant. What does Tech Giant do? Oh. Oh. Oh my. I like that. We're going to go back to the drawing board real quick. Yeah, I'm adding a Tectonic Giant. I didn't add what's his name? Inferno Titan to this deck, but I will add Tectonic Giant to this deck. Cuz that is crazy. My god. That's 6 damage. How did I forget about Mage Slayer? There's just y'all, thank you for so much value. There's so much value that I just like overlooked. Cause yeah, you're right. Mage Slayer and Tech Giant. Like if I'm just gonna straight up burn people out, I think I cut Sirach here because it's a beginning of combat trigger. I have Urabrask for haste, and the other haste enabler I have could be. I don't have another haste enabler actually. Oh no, I have Rhythm. I have Rhythm of the Wild. It doesn't work for tokens, but it does work for regular creatures. If Combat Celebrant hasn't been exerted this turn, you may exert it as it attacks. When you do, untap all. That counts as a double trigger, right? Actually, no, I can't. It doesn't even matter, because if it's been exerted this turn, I can't re-exert it. So maybe I do cut Combat Celebrant. Granted, if I clone it... Yeah, send your list over. Josh usually manages the Twitter, but I can check on it. Does it double up on myriad triggers? If that's the case, then I'm running the sword, which is Blade of Selves. I already run Sword of the Animist, so yeah. Blade of Selves is insane. I think Blade of Selves goes in over the Mage Slayer probably. So now I have to cut 2 more cards. This deck is so value. It's so hard to start cutting. Maybe I do get rid of Hellkite Charger. Maybe I get rid of Hellkite Charger. No, I think I get rid of Clouth. He's good, but he only lets me cast things after combat. Ooh, no, that actually works really well with the Tech Giant though. Damn. This deck's getting rough to cut for. I think I'm going to get rid of Flame Shadow Conjuring. No. Essica's Chariot. I'm getting rid of the Chariot. It copies tokens, but I don't make enough tokens so far. Like, I do make tokens, but not nearly enough to make it worth using the Chariot. I don't want to cut too much from the lower end, though. Yeah, Myriad's an attack trigger, Mentor's an attack trigger, Melee's an attack trigger, Annihilator's an attack trigger. Yeah, I already got Lurking Predators in here. It's right. Where'd it go? That's mana value 4, mana value 5. 6. There we go. Lurking Predators. You don't think it's proactive enough? Well, what would you recommend over Lurking Predators that's lower CMC? Yeah, the chariot's cut. The chariot is definitely cut. What would I replace lurking predators with though? Cream of the crop is pretty forward. Like it lets me filter through cards pretty swell. I gotta cut one more card first before I can even think about a Scourge of the Throne, because I get to copy one, the dethrone trigger, and two, whenever I attack someone with a higher life total than my own, plus treasonous ogre, which means I can actually just keep murdering. I can probably end the entire game off of just Scourge of the Throne triggers, because I'll get extra combat. I'll get 2 extra combats every time I attack the person with a higher life total than my own. That is why I run Scourge of the Throne in this deck. Scourge of the Throne is kind of insane. And it makes me think that I could definitely get away with cutting Hellkite Charger. Because, yeah, our commander triggers on whenever. So, anything that says whenever this creature attacks or whenever a creature attacks is what we can just freaking... Yeah, I looked at some Annihilator before, had a slight heart attack about how evil it was, and I put in Bane of Balaged. So I run the exile. They choose to exile 2 permanents. Josh, this deck 100% could probably work with like a bear archetype, but I'm the dragon guy, and dragons eat bears. Dragons eat bears. I'm sorry, homie. Tuya? Is that the She Rides Bears? She Who Rides Bear? Yeah, it is She Who Rides Bear. Well, Sarms, your lore is wrong, because my lore has dragons eat bears. They're a delicacy. Nom 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 nom. Maybe I do get rid of Targnar, just because he doesn't have any keywords, so he becomes slightly less, That's the thing. Seasons past. It's high... I don't even know if I can justify it anymore just because of how high the CMC on it is. I'd want things that get back all my creatures to the board, but I know I don't have anything like that. And if we're just going with straight up forward momentum, maybe I get rid of Lurking Predators for abundance. Okay, now that's a suggestion, Josh. Utvara Hellkite is definitely a suggestion, and it's kind of terrifying, actually, that I didn't think about that. So many damn dragons. And there's the 8-drop. True. You have a point there. The abundance Sylvan Library is a pretty nice combo there for getting me forward and siphoning through my cards. I'm at least at abundant. I'm at least at abundance, because abundance lets me pick if I want a creature or a land. And usually by turn 4, I run out of gas. So around turn 4 is where I want to start just like throwing stuff at the wall to try to move forward in terms of card advantage. Okay. Okay, that's... Hmm. But now I gotta figure out if I'm gonna add Sylvan Library, what do I cut for Sylvan Library? Aggravated Assault's easier to pull off, and it gives me another main phase. Hellkite Charger is 7, but has haste, so it can just immediately trigger. And I can trigger Savage Ventmaw with it. I'm just gonna add it to the deck. I think I get rid of Targ just because he doesn't have any keywords. Like, I like him. You have a point there on Beastmaster's Ascension becoming like dangerous in like 2 swings. But I think it's a choice between Beastmaster and Mage Slayer at that point. Oh no, I want both. It's a choice between Beastmaster and... I don't even know. Honestly, the deck's looking pretty fly right now. Like, honestly. Here. I'm gonna put in the chat the link to the list. So, if y'all have any extra suggestions for the deck, post them at the bottom of the link, at the bottom of the page. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about it, because this build was very productive, like extremely productive. Like, I'm loving the way this deck turned out. It's really cool. It's got a Finale of Devastation kind of end game with the ability to take multiple, if not infinite, combat steps, as well as just outvaluing with just our commander even. Because if you can get 3 tokens attacking other players, you now have a 10/10 Wulfgar of Icewind Dale. Bomat Courier exiles 2 cards. Copperhorn does a double untap. Honestly, I could probably cut Copperhorn Scout, because I don't think the untap on the Copperhorn really makes it. Yeah, Atarka's. Atarka is nice, but I can't double her trigger. That's the thing I want to do all the time, is just use that ability. Oh wait, that's what I do. I'm a real dummy. I'm gonna get rid of Copperhorn Scout for Lightning Greaves, because I have no protection for my commander right now. That is one surefire way to make me sad in this deck, is if I don't run protection for my commander. So I gotta add Swiftfoot Boots too. Yeah. Gotta give him good shoe wear so he can be a human barbarian anywhere he needs to be. What do I cut for it? I need to cut 1 card. Just 1 more card. I got Heroic Intervention. Deflecting SWAT is fine not being in the deck, just because if they're killing my If I'm willing to deflecting swat something and they're killing my commander directly with it, then fine, let it be, because I have other things that are actually more dangerous than my commander. My commander just kind of enables them to be more dangerous. Plus, I can't even think of a card I would take out for deflecting swat at this point, because I do have, as far as like instant speed interaction goes, I've got heroic. I've got heroic intervention. Maybe ordeal, because it requires 2 attacks. Yeah, unless it's on Krenko. This deck's kind of terrifying. If I saw this on the other side of the table, like, one, it's Wulfgar, so I'd be like, okay, so they're gonna be bonking me. And 2, the value is gonna be nutso. Like, there is so much value in this deck, just like in terms of just pure unadulterated forward momentum. But yeah, thank you guys for all your help tonight in building this bad boy. I'm gonna do this again next Sunday, but I won't be around the Sunday after that, so be on hiatus for a week. That being said, I want to kind of know what you guys want me to do for next week's deck build, because this was really fun. I have a couple of other deck ideas that have been in the works. Like, I wanted to make red black zombies using using Orcus's wand, and I have like dinosaur storm. I don't know, it's just yeah, I have a lot of ideas. And if you have a commander to build around, a theme to build around, come join the Discord, talk in the brewery at me. Like, I'm always lurking. I may not always post or respond to things, but I'm always lurking. So if you at me with an idea, might be the one we do next week. But I want to thank you all for joining me tonight on this stream. It was super fun, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your night, amazing rest of your week, and we will have more content for you in the future. And remember, untap, upkeep, drink.